Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live. Those of you that could join us, we're really glad that you're here. Today's topic is going to be about forgiveness, and it's the law of forgiveness. And obviously, it's about forgiving others, but obviously also it's about forgiving ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what most people seem to have the most problem with is because, first of all, they don't think they deserve forgiveness.
Right.
Or they're clueless that they did something that they need to be forgiven for.
I think the guilt and the shame, too, they don't release as part of forgiveness.
Absolutely.
You just, take on other people's stuff.
Right.
No.
So it's about being forgiving ourselves, and then others, forgive yourself first, then forgive others, and eventually people who you may have harmed will forgive you. And the most important thing to remember with this is that when you're not forgiving something that somebody said or did or whatever, you're the one holding on to that. You're the one being affected.
Yep.
You're the one that it's bringing it down, because quite frankly, if somebody's mean enough to do something really mean, they don't really care. And they're not looking for it. But yet you're in your mind playing it over until you get tired of playing it over, and then eventually you start to feel it. And you have to understand that all the thoughts that we have, and especially like anger or hatred or resentment, and love and joy, okay, all emotions have a chemical reaction that affects the physical body, because the chemical reaction is that your body sends out a bunch of hormones that really, they make you angry. It makes you angry. And that's what your body's feeling, and that's what your physical body starts to respond to. And all that's going to do is make you old and sick real fast.
Yep.
So I don't know about you, but I know my bag's gotten later. I think there's only honest to God, maybe two things that still kind of come up now and then, but even the circumstances around me that I've had to forgive, I've actually done it. Even the people that have done the worst things to me, or now that my mom's with me, my mom, I've sent out that forgiveness, and you know what, quite frankly, I let it go. And the people that I've had to forgive, I've actually forgiven myself for anything that I may have done to, catalyze whatever's happened. And I feel a whole lot better. And I gotta say, since I've done that, a lot of doors have opened, and a lot of things that I need in my life and that I'm working towards have really been right in my energy field, right in where my grasp is, so many things have happened since I've let it go. And part of letting go of the anger and hurt and stuff is that you become more sensitive. So not only are you more sensitive to not wanting to be in an environment with people who are hurtful, and it makes it much easier letting them go and now distancing yourself from them, but it also makes you more sensitive on the other end of the scale to forgiving. Hey Barb, see you tonight. Can't wait to see you.
Hi, Barb.
Can't wait to see you. So it doesn't mean you have to mend fences. You do not have to be with somebody that you need to forgive.
Right.
It just means in your mind you are forgiving them and you're letting it go. It does not condone their behavior or make what they did not relevant, but it makes it not bother you anymore, so you can be on your merry way and stay healthy. You give up judgment. You give up judgment. You never know why people do the things they do. And you replace judgment with peace and harmony. You give up anger and you replace it with joy and harmony. Again, I don't mean to be so repetitive, but if that's the kind of feelings you want in your life and that's the way you want to feel, you can't do it if you're lugging around this whole bag of resentment. It's very, very heavy. And we've talked about how feelings and emotions are frequencies. And if you're a really happy, joyful person, who you really are, and you're bubbly all the time, no matter how low goes to meet high, if you're allowing yourself to carry around all of this crap that means nothing anymore to you, then that's on you. And when you're ready to let go of that and realize that it's in your head and not in theirs, and you're the one being affected by it, that should make it all the more easier. You can say it into a microphone, tape it, and erase it. You can write it down in your journal, rip the page out and burn it. You can write the person's name down and say, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, and go bury it somewhere. Personally, I don't care how you do it. The easiest way is to close your eyes and just see the person in your mind's eye, cut a cord connecting the two of you, let it go, and just free yourself of it. Because whether you're consciously thinking of it or not, it's still with you. And here's a real eye-opener. Your subconscious mind cannot figure out what you're feeling for someone else or for yourself. So, just like we were talking about how when you speak to somebody, you're really speaking to you. When you're angry, the universe is seeing you and feeling you with that anger and resentment and unforgiveness, and you're getting that. I mean, it can't make any more sense than that, to let go of things. Like, and you know, people come back and they're like, oh, well, it's so easy, it's easier said than done. You know what? That's like an excuse now. That has become a wannabe victim excuse. Yes, it's easier said than done. But there's a lot of things we need to say, and the sooner you say them, the sooner you get it off your chest, the sooner you let it go, the sooner you feel better. And you know what? Maybe you're pointing something out to somebody that they had no idea. Like, you don't know. You don't know, because it's your perception that you're holding on to all this stuff. Let it go.
Yeah, and the moment you do that, you can feel an energy shift. And that is, I think, a lot of these feelings, again, coming up is because you're already in the shift.
Yes.
And you have to finish it. You have to finish it so you can keep moving forward.
Yeah, and like one other thing about this, you know, I'm saying, like, when you're thinking about this and you're in this mode and your subconscious mode can't realize whether it's focused outward to somebody or you're holding on to it, like it has no idea. Wouldn't it be nice if we had, in a perfect world, wouldn't it be nice if we had like 15 minutes that for like 15 minutes we could be like and not have it affect us at all? Well, yeah. Guess what? Newsflash, doesn't happen like that. The universe hears everything you are feeling, thinking, wanting, not wanting, and the universe is, what's the word?
It's reciprocating back.
No, I'm always looking for these words, and Lord knows I'm not going to call Franca to find out, because I could throw. Sorry, Franca, but Franca, I love you, but like the words, you know. Hi, Liz. I can't remember the word for this. Literal. The universe is literal. So what it hears, the subject, is what it carries out for you and brings to you. So the more anger you put out, the more things it gives you to be angry about. So on that note, if for 5 minutes you can focus on, like, close your eyes, picture all the people you need to forgive that have hurt you, wronged you, or you're just angry at because maybe you misunderstood something. For 5 minutes, take that 5 minutes to just forgive all those people. Light a candle, smell some essential oils, smell some frankincense, smell some lavender, smell some chamomile, smell some arbor vitae, smell some oils that are going to just kind of allow your vibration to get to a place where you're letting this stuff go, and see how you feel, and understand on your own that it's so much easier to think something, and it's not as hard as like where everybody's going, oh, much easier said than done. I'm just telling you to change a thought for 5 minutes. And not for nothing, if you can't change what you're thinking for 5 minutes and be in control of just this for even a minute, give it a minute, then you got more serious things than you need that you need to work with, and you're getting old and sick real fast. So,
yeah, and
up to you. And can I say one more thing, and not to be like a holy roller, but I do really respect like a lot of things that are in Scripture, and one of the things is the Lord's Prayer. It says, "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us." It just feels so. Just even if you take a minute to say that to yourself, the whole energy of those words, the whole energy of that feeling and that thought is surrounding you. I mean, I don't know anybody that shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. And to your point, also yesterday, the video you did with your solar plexus,
empowerment, yourself.
You can actually feel the more of that not only on your back but in your stomach, and that's where a lot of the diseases come from. And it clogs up it makes you foggy. There's
everything
like so many
starts
things
in
that
the
happen.
gut. You're making a knot.
For sure.
And what's going to flow through a knot? Nothing.
Yeah.
Let this go. Like, if you don't want to be clear thinking, and you don't want to just go with the flow and have peace in your daily life, then go ahead and hold on to all the anger and resentment and hatred and guilt and everything, because you forgive yourself and then you forgive other people. Sometimes people are just ignorant in a way that they don't even realize that they've done something, or ignorant to even how you feel. So isn't that like a huge thing? Hey, Donna. Hey, Car.
Hey, Car.
Hi, Car. So it's really something that you yourself, you feel it in your gut. You don't want to feel it anymore. And a lot of times we hold on to these things, and it starts to make us be a person who we're really, hey, Denise, we become people that we really aren't, because somebody else is what they're doing is making you be somebody that you don't want to be. That should be a real eye opener. And like I said, if in a minute or two you can't change what you're thinking, like that's huge. And again, you know what? The universe doesn't let us take 15 minutes off to go curse somebody or curse something that happened or be angry. And they hear that for you. So when you forgive somebody, you can really feel the difference in your heart, in your body, in your feeling. It's lighter. And like I said earlier, it helps to make you a more sensitive person in the way that you feel things quicker, to get out of Dodge quicker, not to respond in a conflicting way where it's going to just make more conflict and anger. Learn to walk away. But when you're going to walk away, say what you got to say, because you know what? You're going to let that fester and hang in there too. And then 5 days later, you're like, oh, I should have said this, should have said that. You know what? Get your thoughts in order. Get out what you got to get out. Get it over with and move on. Kind of like that wheel we were talking about. Like, Karen was saying to me the other day, we were talking about something. She said, you're just like, you're feeding that wheel. Yeah. You're like on that hamster wheel. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking things are going to change. The insanity, the definition of insanity, doing the same old thing and expecting things to change. How do you expect an angry situation, a situation you're not forgiving, how do you expect that to change if you're still doing the same things also, and you're still feeling the same things also, and you're still letting the same things happen?
Yep.
And forgiveness is here. Forgiveness is here. And, we've said before, Buddha says holding on to anger is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It's huge. Yes, jump off that wheel. Both feet hands in the air, jump off that wheel. You know, say what you got to say, do what you got to do. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Because there's not one of us, I'm sorry, that can possibly say in their whole life that they haven't done something they need to be forgiven for. We all have that. We all have that. So start with forgiving yourself. And even if you don't think you did something, just go, listen, if there's anything I did that I'm not aware of, any and all things, known or unknown, let it go. And you know what? That fast, I just felt tingling in my calves. I swear to God, when I just said that, it felt like I let something go. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. Can you turn the heat off? It's really hot in here.
It's not a hot flash, whatever.
I am not. But it makes situations easier to forgive because you're in a lighter place. And the minute you feel that heaviness, like, there are people I'm not around for a long time. Nothing really happened, but it's lighter. And even now, in retrospect, when I think about it, I'm even lighter when I think about it. There's not all of those angry things attached to it.
Yeah.
Hi, Arlene. How you doing? I'm so happy all the people that are joining us today.
Joining us.
And don't forget about the chemical reaction in the body that it affects. You're making yourself sick. They don't really care. They don't really care. And I know people go, well, it's family. You know what? Not that I take family light, believe me. But sometimes it doesn't matter. Family people hurt other family people.
You only go around once.
Right.
And sometimes it's either you or them.
Yeah. Forgiveness, and here's the biggest thing. Forgiveness is about you. It's not about the other person. They don't care. This is stuff you're holding on to. These are energies that you're having that are blocking really good things from coming to us. So, and you can forgive but not forget, and that's okay. Oh, there you go. Jack, I agree with you. You can forgive and you may not forget, but the thing is that in not forgetting, you just don't let it happen again. You just don't let that same person in to do it again, because here's that rule. First time their fault, second time their fault, third time your fault. And you know what? I've gotten to a point where first time their fault ain't happening again, because I'm not going to let it happen again. The minute that I feel that coming, walk away. Gotta walk away. But forgiveness just really is about you, not about the other person, because you're the one holding on to the feelings. You're the one playing that old record, and they don't even care. They've moved on. Guess what? They've moved on. You're the one sitting there, victim. This happened, that happened. Somebody did this, somebody did that. Don't you get tired of replaying the whole same thing? And not for nothing, you know if people are going to change or they're not going to change. At this stage of the game, and even those of you that are younger out there, if you haven't seen any change yet, you're not going to say it. You're not going to say it. Things have to happen in the other person. They have to become aware. They have to understand. They have to learn. They have to change their behavior. They have to want to be in a better place. And you know what? They're all the things that you can't do for somebody else. They're all the things that only you can do for you. So if you're still holding on to anger, not forgiving somebody, and listen, I'm not saying that whatever anybody did is okay. Just in your mind, you're letting it go so it's not affecting you and making you angry.
So I read something earlier today about all this shift, all the work that we've been doing in the last year, right? So when you're working on every one of these laws, if you continue working from the place that you are rather than the place that you're going to, like, so when you forgive, you're going to be a different person than the one who's handling the situation. And so it's like you have to keep going forward. We're kind of finding a place of being stuck again because we did all this work, and then you're like, now what? And then the stuff starts creeping back in again.
Yes.
So it's like kind of a continuous thing where you have to be to start the day really with the Lord's Prayer is a really good idea, because it's like, okay, starting from right now, forgive everybody, forgive me, move on. That's a really good idea.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That again. I use that.
It's a great thing to do.
In those moments of like where you just don't know what to do next, I'll like just start going, because that's one of my go-tos But really, it's a good idea.
Right. And think about forgiveness or being angry at somebody. You're not happy if you're angry. You can't have the two emotions in the same place.
Yeah.
So the whole title of our thing today is, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And if somebody else doesn't understand your side of things, that's the other person doesn't understand your side of things. Too bad. Too bad. Let it go. That's it. Doesn't matter. So, hey, Mick, how you doing? So, that's like a huge thing.
We're reading the board. Giuseppe's writing all your notes down, so we're trying to read everything.
That's right. And this is another
we still
step.
haven't come to a great answer of that.
And yeah, Mandy, yes, we are all responsible for our actions and our reactions. So with that in mind, we have that split second of thought that we can choose peace or we can choose conflict. I say what you got to say and get out of Dodge. Get it out. Get it out, because it's just, I'm telling you, you're carrying around that sack of stuff that it's all about you. It's all about you. And yes, easier said than done, but easier than even me saying it and getting it done is changing that thought in that minute. And you know what? It's another step for you for healing. There's another step for you in healing when you let go of forgiveness. You remember way back in one of the segments I told you about that scale, vibrational scale from Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force, where he tells you, like, Hitler's at 100, Mother Teresa and Jesus are at 1,000 vibration. You have anger, hatred, guilt, and then there's like joy, forgiveness, gratitude, love. So if you're still vibrating under that 500, healing is not taking place. Healing takes place when you start to feel those other things, and you can't feel them. They can't be in the same place as those lower feelings. So when you can let go of those things, it's just like doors open up. It's like miracles happen. It's like things that you want to do happen. You can move forward. And
so interestingly, Gina just said about your triggers, and I saw something last week about the brain, and a big part of your brain that's still the reptilian brain, and that is the part that responds to the triggers.
yes,
Because say you become excessively angry from something, it creates that rage, whatever that trigger that you usually have. So to forgive it and then remove yourself out of the circumstance, is huge. Forgive all of that and then move forward. And that's not a place that you want to be again.
All right, and then
in that trigger.
And to add to that, Gina, here's the thing. If you truly, fully forgive, then yes, it's going to trigger that emotion, but at that level, it shouldn't trigger the feeling. And I've noticed that in a lot of this work that I've been doing and that we've been talking about, yes, the experience comes back, the memory, I'm sorry, not the emotion even, the memory of the situation that got triggered comes back, but I do not have those old feelings. Like, just for a minute, everybody out there, think for a second. Are you the same person today that you were a year ago?
No.
Are you still handling things the way you did a year ago? Some of you may be, but a lot of you aren't. And a lot of you aren't because you're moving forward, you're evolving, you're learning, and you're expanding your awareness that there's a better place that you can be. You're learning that your choices make your life. You're learning that at any moment you can choose love or conflict, love or hatred, peace or upheaval. Like my girlfriend told me the other day, like I got to bring this up. I when I hang up the phone or I'm working with people or I hug them goodbye, I always say I love you. Mm-hmm. And it just comes so naturally to me to use that word, but not in the way that you love someone that you're married to or intimate with. It's just a good feeling to spread that and what it feels like when you say the word in that context, but not in a in love kind of context. And I feel that for me, repeating that even in my affirmations when I do it helps to keep me in that space. Even when things do erupt, I find that I don't get as unraveled as I usually would. No, I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago at all. My spirit is the same, but my soul has evolved. I've learned and grown, and your soul is what records your lessons and helps you to be there. Your spirit's your spirit. Your spirit is who you are. Your spirit's who you bring back every incarnation to learn your lessons, and your spirit's what gets you into trouble to learn your lessons. Yeah, my spirit made me do it. That was one I didn't use when I was
No, me either.
I could just imagine my mom and dad going, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah. There goes
That's
that
like
spirit.
even worse than the voices in your head. That's right. We're taught to hold on to our feelings, and yeah, but you know what? You can't do that, and you don't have to do it in a mean and angry way. You can just say your piece. Say your piece. There you go. Keep your composure and deal with it later. But you know what? Deal with it, because if you bury it, that's one of those things that's an underlying feeling that keeps us from getting things that we want and keep us from coming to closure. Because remember, in one of the shows we talked about your feelings, your intentions, your emotions, and your thoughts all have to be aligned together in order for the universe to get a clear picture of what it is we're asking for. And maybe today, maybe just for today, you can ask for assistance in how do I get to this place where I can find forgiveness, or just, forgive and
Denise said it's a good time for her to hear this.
Thank you, Denise, for feeling this way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ask for guidance and ask for help to learn forgiveness. And honestly, the simplest thing is just picture all the things and feelings and people that you need to forgive, and just in your mind tell them you forgive them, and in your mind ask them to forgive you. Because to go through your whole life not forgiving someone and spurting out anger every time you say something, post something, do something, you know what? That's all on you, baby, because you're the only one thinking that, and you're the one holding on to it. And yes, it gets you old real quick. And being angry gets old real quick.
Yep.
There are certain situations in your life that have happened. They're done. They could be 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Ask yourself, you've been holding on to this for 5 years, 10 years, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 days, 1 week. But ask yourself, is it worth my health, my growth, my evolving to hold on to this and block a really happy, good, successful